In this episode, we are to analyze youth motivation to live a sustainable lifestyle. Our host is Lurlene and Patalie. Hello, world! Welcome to the Lurlene
and Patalie show.
If this is your first time tuning in, we usually pick a topic that we find interesting.
Yeah, Lurlene had something she wanted to talk about today.
Yeah, today's episode is about something that I personally took a notice of at work. And I work at a coffee shop. In the recent years, there's been a lot of customers coming in with things like reusable cups, straws, and whatnot, and they're usually the younger customers.
Oh, I know what you mean. I've noticed this as well, actually. I have a reusable cup myself.
You go, girl. It's almost become a trend among the younger crowd, and it got me wondering, where did this motivation to buy these products come from?
And by younger crowd, you mean Gen Z, right?
Yeah, Generation Z, or for those of you who don't know what Generation Z is, it's usually used to refer people that are in me and Pally's generation. So that's people in their teens all the way to mid-20s.
Gen Z. People who belong to Gen Z are usually known to be very forward-thinking activists, right?
Yeah, so if you were to generalize Gen Z, they are known to be pretty open-minded, morally driven, and very tech-savvy.
You think these traits are part of the reason why something like being eco-friendly is trending?
Yeah, I think it plays a big part because this generation was given the tools to start thinking about environmental degradation at a young age. For me personally, even as early as kindergarten or elementary school, we were exposed to things like climate change, pollution, and we were basically told that we have to live sustainably. Don't you agree?
I do. Thinking back, one of the first books that I ever read was about how cutting down trees is bad.
Is that so? I think mine was something similar too. It's interesting that you had such an experience similar to mine.
I know, girl. I hear you. Actually, a lot of my friends had similar experiences as well. I remember that sustainability was a huge topic at school.
Facts. And in most schools in the Western area, we get a lot of education about how to be environmentally conscious and think carefully about where the products we buy come from.
Like reduce, reuse, recycle? That was one slogan that was kind of shoved onto you.
Exactly. And we were made to participate in things such as Earth Hour and Climate Change Awareness Week. I personally saw the most recent climate strike, which happened last year, 2021, at downtown Toronto. Gen Z are not afraid to speak up about their beliefs.
So, you're saying that they're using their education and trying to integrate it into their lifestyle?
Yeah, they continuously practice these environmentally conscious behaviors even as they get older. Like, I'm at University York. We have similar events going on, such as Environmental Week. And just yesterday, when I was coming into campus, I saw this huge banner about environmental justice at Barry Hall.
Nice. Actually, I think this eco-lifestyle integration is pretty apparent. You know, I was just at Aroma Cafe yesterday, the one at York University location, and surprisingly, it has more vegan options than the one at Israel.
Oh, I think I learned about this in my university life. This is called glocalization.
That's a very interesting term. Lurlene, you have the floor. Can you explain to our listeners what globalization is?
Globalization is a term that joins together globalization and localization. For example, Aroma Cafe, as you mentioned, which originates from Israel. But in Canada, there are more vegan options in student campuses locations to accommodate students' diets. There are more sustainable products available because of the nature of the students to be more eco-conscious here.
That's very interesting.
I know, but before we move on, I want to clarify that I'm not saying that all environmentally conscious Gen Z are from the West or from developed countries. Gen Z, being the tech-savvy generations they are, of course they are going to have global impact. It's just that not a lot of studies have done about eco-conscious youth in those countries.
Oh, I see.
Oh, okay. But again, like I mentioned on Gen Z, are masters of transmedia. So just as you expect, they are impacted by ecological situations all over the world. As an example, there are countless images and videos of countries having no water, food, or having very bad environmental crisis, like the wildfires in Australia last year.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
It's all over TikTok or YouTube, where you get to watch live or recorded scenes. I think this brings in a new level of exposure that brings Gen Z the ability to get a first-hand look at the impacts of harming the environment.
Great point. When you get information that comes directly from the people affected, it kind of makes you feel a certain responsibility to want to help them, right?
Yes, of course. And for most people, especially with those in faraway places, money is kind of the go-to way to help. It's just very capitalistic way of thinking, and companies, corporates know this. They see this demand and start labeling products as eco-friendly. That includes ads found from public spaces, daily routine spots or hotspots for Gen Z use, like Starbucks or your local cafe shops. And lastly, commercialization of products that affect their lifestyle would be their local supermarket. These places can charge you for plastic that you'll have to consider buying your own bag because 20 cents is still much when you are on student loans.
Yeah. When you add 20 cents to your bill, it makes it feel like a lot of money, and it feels better to invest in your own reusable bag.
Exactly, like your own tote bags or washable bags, you name of.
Yeah. Wow. I'll start thinking twice about all the ads I see now. That was very eye-opening. You know, it makes me start wondering about what other ways that eco-friendly culture is becoming commercialized.
Well, that's a great idea and feedback to explore from you. But that's for the next episode because it's time to say goodbye.
Well, it was great talking with you.
You as well.
It's been the Patalie
And Lurlene Show.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Lurlene, for today's commentary. Let's see you all next time.
See you next week.
Bye-bye. In this episode, we are to continue the discussion about conscious consumerism, but this time with fandom culture intervention in the movement. The host for today is Lurlene and Patalie.
Hello, world. Welcome to the Lurlene
and Patalie show. Last week, we talked all about Gen Z and eco-friendly culture. You might want to check it out before this because our talk got me thinking.
Oh, that's never a good
Can't disagree with that. But our talk about commercialization got me thinking about how celebrities and influencers, and for the lack of a better word, influence the green movement.
What do you mean?
We mentioned several times that it's a trend amongst Gen Z who are environmentally conscious to support products that are sustainable. So I connected this to fandom culture and influencers who seem to be very vocal about this movement. And, well, I'm the type of person that loves to browse through YouTube videos a lot.
Oh, don't we all are?
And I've seen a rise in YouTubers that like to include eco-friendly talk into their videos. I like to think this is creating a green movement that's founded on fandoms because the fans of these YouTubers become inspired by them and try to follow their lifestyles.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of fandom culture revolves around their common interests, but fan interaction is what makes it interesting.
Exactly. But the thing with eco culture merging with fandom culture is that it becomes a tool used for profit.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're sellouts. Platforms like YouTube are essentially meant to be for sharing your work and self-promotion, right? So it's natural that it turns out like this. For example, if you were to watch a YouTube video, you'd see these influencers talking about something eco-friendly.
Like thrifting.
Yes, thrifting is a perfect example. It's supposed to be this very good way to cut down on waste.
Okay, so this would be the reuse and recycle of the reduce, recycle slogan.
Yes. I used to be very into these videos, and one of my favorite people to watch is Leia's Field Notes. And she's very big on being very eco-friendly. It's kind of the whole basis of her channel. So she makes vlogs about thrifting clothes, vegan cooking and baking and such. But, recently she launched her own company where she sells things like tote bags, cups, and stuff like that. She labels these as eco-friendly items and encourages her fans to buy them.
Okay, so this means she's essentially using her platform for her own gain.
Yeah, not only that, she encourages others to participate in this type of consumer culture where what you buy is okay as long as it's eco-friendly.
Oh yeah? No. Uh-oh.
A perfect example of this would be thrifting. Thrifting has become a trend lately.
That's true. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, people are buying more thinking that it's eco-friendly because when you're thrifting, you're already buying something that's been used, but it's still valuable and you can get it for fairly cheap. So it gives people the room to overbuy. So they'd buy more from thrifting just because they think it's okay.
True. I do see what's kind of sketchy about this. But isn't it good that she's at least addressing the issue?
Well, yeah. See, that's where it gets complicated. There's this tension between the influencers trying to do good, but also kind of using the green movement to benefit themselves. Well, an example of this would be Jaden Smith, who I'm sure you all know as the son
of Will Smith.
Yes, the famous actor. And his son Jaden is the actor from Karate Kid, and he's also a musician. I think he's genuinely wants to do good and help the environment, and he's very vocal about it through his social medias. But he also has a water bottle company of his own called Just Water, where he's trying to provide a different alternative to plastic water bottles.
Just water. As simple as water from spring. Well, so you think he's genuinely trying to help the environment, but kind of falls into a trap where he's just feeding into consumer culture?
Yes. These influencers and celebrities are creating a green movement where the green products you own is what makes you part of the environmental movement.
So doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of being a conscious consumerism in the first place?
I would say yes. When you're buying something, what do you consider first?
The price. Okay, the price must be right. It must be affordable. And, because I'm being conscious.
Yeah.
Right? I look at the price tag first.
Yeah, I mean, most people would. But the thing with green products is, because of this movement, people feel a higher social gratification from buying green products. You know what I mean? Like, when they see these people that look cool buying them and promoting them and saying that they're doing good, it makes them feel good about buying more green products. It makes them feel like they're part of something. It encourages them to advocate more for this movement.
So I can definitely see this happening. But that creates a big class division because, as you can imagine, if green culture is all about eco-friendly stuff you can buy, then you can say the supporters are educated, from the middle class, and socially aware.
Yeah, definitely. Usually when you talk about eco-friendly culture, you assume that participants are richer middle class. And I feel it's because people think that poor people can't afford to be eco-friendly.
Okay, so what's an interesting point you want to talk about more about it?
Well, people of lower economic status are kind of not looked at in terms of eco-friendliness because it's kind of assumed that they don't have the resources or the time to think about it. Data actually shows that as income levels increase, people are more likely to believe that you should care about the environment. Like, if you can't get reusable straws, it doesn't mean that you're not helping in other ways. You could still be part of the movement. I think people of lower economic status go participate in green culture, but it's done unconsciously as they're just trying to live a sustainable life.
Wow, that's a great point. So that you do suggest for people to do with this information?
I think we should be conscious for the environmental, definitely, but we should be careful about how we go about it. Fandoms and fandom culture is wonderful, but when it's combined with green culture, it kind of twists green culture and makes it more materialistic than it's meant to be.
Which is not what green movement and climate change movement should be like.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, it has come time for us to say goodbye.
Oh no, it was great to get these thoughts off my chest. Thank you for listening, Lurlene, and thank you everyone else for listening.
Yes, it was a pleasure.
See you all next week
when you tackle on a new topic.
It's been the Patalie
and Lurlene show.
Thank you.